my hair is just weird and manky today, so ignore it. Welcome to the Braid and Tinker podcast. I think I need like a little choir to sing that. That would be better, because one, I don't sing, so no, that would be terrible, but it would be like really epic if I could have like a little choir sing the intro of this podcast. Where does one acquire a choir? Like, do you go to a website, or do you have to go to a church and like go, hello, can I borrow your choir for a day? I don't know. It's like, look it up. Anyway, nonsense. Sunday the 13th of May. What? Time is going so fast. Also, why is it raining? It was super bloody sunshiny yesterday and it's shitty rainy today, but oh well. Sometimes you need days like this, I think. We went to IKEA this afternoon. We were there for a long time, which is boring, but you know, sometimes you just kind of have to force yourself to go through the sausage that is called IKEA and buy the things that you need. Apparently I needed this. These are actually, I have these different ones, but now IKEA makes them for very cheap because, I don't know, I think it's bamboo or something, but they're useful. You put your phone in it. Do I have an example? I'm recording on my phone, so I can't show you, of course. Ugh. Anyway, things like this. I needed this. These are actually, if you knit from your phone or from your iPad for like the patterns, you should get these and put them in your project bags, because you can like prop up your phone or iPad properly to read the pattern. Suggestion. Anyway, welcome to my podcast. I think I said that. This is episode number 9. Next episode will be number 10. Super. My name is Melanie. Hello. And I'm a knitter, and I get paid to be a software developer 4 times a week, and sometimes I hand dye yarn and then I sell it on Etsy, and this is some of that yarn. And you can find me on Etsy at BraidAndTinker.etsy.com. You can find me on Ravelry as BraidAndTinker. There is also a Ravelry group where I am hosting the knit along for the May pullover. There is also just other information from the podcast that you can find in the Ravelry group. A link to the group will be in the YouTube down below thing. I have an Instagram account, and you can find me as Melanie_knits, and I'm pretty active on Instagram, so might be something for you. And you can email me if you want to. It's braidandtinker@gmail.com if you have inquiries about stuff. It's possible. I'm drinking spicy chai from Yogi Tea. It's really delicious, but it's no longer warm because I was faffing about with the setup, so oh well. Welcome, and welcome back if you're a returning viewer, as people say. Other people in podcasts who are much better at this than I am, so oh well. There's my scissors. Actually have quite a ton of stuff this week to talk about, so we should get cracking. First whip, there's a cat and she's making funny noises, but I think she's fine. She's lying on Derek's laptop case. I'm sure that's fine. I've been working on my Francis socks. This is a sock from the book, oh I have it here, the sock drawer. I can show you. Sorry. This is the book, The Sock Drawer. It's by Verity Castledine. And it's the very first pattern. Francis sock. And I'm here. So this is either halfway done or it's like 90% done if these are going to be shorties. I haven't decided yet. But I really like the pattern. When I started knitting this, I didn't realise that the yarn overs would be quite so big. So I can show you on the other one if I shove my hand into it. Yeah, you can see like these yarn overs are pretty big, but I think it will be fine because the yarn I'm using is salmony coloured, and that's almost the same as my foot colour, so it might not be super obvious. But anyway, so when I started knitting these, I was a bit like, ooh, it's very see-throughy and lacy, but actually I quite like it. I like the sort of like regularity, I would say, of the pattern. It's quite lacy, but it feels very like, oh, I can't think of the word, but anyway. So in Dutch it would be regelmatig, like regularly, but like, oh, this is terrible. Anyway, I really like the pattern. It's not difficult, and I don't need the pattern to do the like the instep pattern side. I mean, I'm just doing my regular sock pattern that I always do, and then just changing the instep pattern. But I do use a row counter just because the last 3 rows you don't really do anything, but I do like to know, because it's like, ooh, am I on row 6? Am I on row 7? Am I on row 8? And like, do I go back to row 1 now, you know, or am I still on 7? So I kind of need a row counter for that stuff. But other than that, the pattern is pretty mindless, and yeah, I think it looks really pretty. So these are almost done. I'm suspecting these will be done by maybe tonight even. I could finish this. If I'm making these shorties, I mean, this is just like, I don't know, 6 more rounds or something like that. It's not much more work. I do quite like shorties because I like wearing woolen socks even in summer. I mean, it doesn't get that hot here anyway, so I don't know. Possible. Let's put these aside. I'm just going to overtake Derek's desk. Bah. Okay. So my other main project I've been working on is the May pullover by Andrea Mowry, and have a picture of that. Do I? Oh, it's downstairs. Oh, I think you can tell by this. So it's like a V-neck tunic type pullover. It's quite long. And I had it in one of my fringe bags, and I just realised at a certain point it's too big, it doesn't fit there anymore. So I made my own project bag, and it's massive, which is good because this is like full. So I'll just grab the sweater first. See how big this is. Oh no, wait, let me just show you like a side-by-side size comparison. So I just made like a yellow canvas that I bought. If you live in the Netherlands, there's a web shop called budgetstoffen.nl, and they sell like these colours, like yellow and grey, all that jazz in this type of canvas, which is extremely similar to the fringe field bags. So that's nice because it's quite durable, and you could just, you know, throw it in the washing machine, I suppose, if you wanted to. And I found like, so, not really a pattern, but like the method to make these types of bags on, I think, Pinterest, and it's super easy. I have this fabric for contrast. What you do is you make 2 bags, like really simple, sort of like, you know, you sew the sides together, then you do the crazy thing at the bottom to make, to do this bit. And then you make sure they're like equal in size, the inside and the outside. And then you make 2 of these tubey things, and you put everything together inside out. So you do it inside out and have like the right sides facing each other, and then you sandwich this in between, and then you sew the whole thing together, and then you make sure that the inside bag, that the bottom lining is still open, and then you can like flip it inside out, just sew that bit shut, and then you can thread the drawstring through. And I'll see if I can find it, but if I can't, I'll probably like one day just record a tutorial for this, because it could not be simpler. It was so easy. I think I might need like bigger drawstring because this is a bit too thin, but other than that, this is like so great. And you know, if you have like a pattern, you can just shove it in there. The great thing about this, you can make these, you know, to your own size, because I really, for this project, I really needed this size, because like a regular fringe drawstring is this size. It is tiny compared to it. Hang on. You can see. The sweater just didn't fit in it anymore. And I love my fringe bags. They're so great. And I use them for almost everything. Especially this blue one. It's just seen so many projects. And they're so useful. And I love the pockets on the inside, but this was like so super easy to do. So I'm definitely going to make more bags later on, I think, when I have time, which is never, but alright. Yeah, so in this bag there's a bunch of stuff. It's my liquor needles that I'm using for this project. And what else is in here? Oh yeah, it's just a tape measure. And so this project, you knit it on it's quite thick needles. This is 8mm US size 11, which is, you know, quite big. So I couldn't find any stitch markers, and I was just like wrapping waste yarn and tying a knot, and then of course the knot comes undone all the time, so it's kind of annoying. And then I figured out I could use these like tiny elastic bands from H&M as stitch markers. Pro tip. But you know, it doesn't have to be these ones from H&M. It could be like, I think they're just like kids hair bands, or hair bands for if you're doing plaits and you have like thin hair or something. I don't know. I could never use this for like my hair because they would snap, but for using them as a stitch markers, they are perfect. And because they're stretchy, you know, you could use even like the biggest needle. Well, they might not fit. These are the biggest needles I have. These are 20mm, so I don't even know what that is in. I once knitted a shawl on that, but I didn't really like it, so just have these. They're insane though, right? I have more. Anyway, so the May pullover. Ooh, I am all over the place today. I'm knitting this from, let me find the ball band. I know it's here somewhere. I tidied up my desk today. Oh, here it is. Rerum de Natura, or however you pronounce that, I don't know, it's French. They're Gilead yarn, and it is the Aster colorway. It's not focusing. Oh well. Which is this, and so let me find this. Oh yeah, this is the front. This is like the V-neck, and then you have these sort of like faux seams that you do by slipping every other row, and the fabric is every other row you twist the stitch, so you get this fabric. I really like this fabric, and I'm thinking that I might do some baby blankets. Let me rephrase that. When I have to do baby blankets for friends, I'll probably make something like this, because it's nice and warm and dense, but it looks quite modern. So I think for like non-knitters, this would be perfect. You know, sometimes things don't really translate from the knitting world to like the real people non-knitting world. People don't really understand sometimes that it's beautiful or that something has taken a lot of time. And sometimes people really like things that are super simple, and they don't realize that for us that just means stockinette for 60 hours, which, you know, nobody enjoys doing that. But this was fun. I think this is nice. But after one of these flaps, I had to put this project away. I was really done with this. I've started working on it again because it's almost the end of May, sort of. Not really. It's the May 13th today. So I'm running a knit along for this pullover in the Ravelry group for this podcast. And so if you're like a crazy speedy knitter, or if accidentally you are already on this project, you can still totally join. It's very low-key. I'm just gonna, at the end of the month, pick some winners and send them prizes. I guess I haven't really like thought this out properly, or like, I don't know, officially or anything. It's just a very low-key thing. So yeah, it is quite big, but I quite like it to be big and snuggly. I'm making a modification. The back is also supposed to be a V-neck, and I'm just going to omit that part. I haven't finished it, but I'm just knitting like straight on the back, and I'm just going to cast off a couple of stitches in the center. Because I have noticed from looking at the Ravelry projects page that a lot of people are struggling with this pattern, even though it tells you super clearly. And I have had this issue actually. It tells you really clearly in the instructions, if you fall between two sizes, choose the smaller one, because this pattern has like 30 centimeters of positive ease. Of course, in my brain, I'm like, no, I'm an extra large. I need to knit the extra large. So I started knitting the extra large. It was way too big. So I had knitted about this in the round, this much. And it was like really wide. It's like, I'm going to swim in that. So I ripped it out and started again. This is the large. And can you imagine how wide this is? It looks weird. This looks really, really big, but I think it'll be fine if I do my modification. The thing is, it's so big, so people have the issue where, because it's a V-neck on the front and on the back, that the shoulders keep dropping down on them. And I saw one pattern for a lady, and she had just made it an oversized sweater by not doing the V-neck on the back, but doing just a regular back piece. So that's my plan now, to do just a regular back piece, so that that will hold up the V-neck parts of the shoulder. She had also done regular size sleeves. I'm not going to do that. I'm still going to make it short sleeved, because I want this to be sort of like a spring autumn type garment jumper. So yeah, it just feels a bit. Is one of these longer? Oh my goodness. No, I'm going crazy. No, this is fine. Oh god, if one is longer, I'm going to bloody shoot this. No, it'll be fine. It just looks weird now because it looks like boob flaps, but it's just the shoulders like this for the V-neck, and then I'll have the back piece. So it'll be fine. So in the midst of sewing the project bag, and then being really happy with this project, and then working quite a lot on it, I just got bored with it for a little bit, and I had to put it away. And I got inspired by by Amy from the Stranded podcast, who was knitting a Blåfjell sweater jumper from Ellie, who is Scandinavian Knits. I hate it when people name drop, but I do it all the time. It's really annoying. Anyway, it's not really even name dropping, because it's not like I met these people and know who they are, but there is a pattern on Ravelry called the Blåfjell sweater jumper, and a podcaster created it. It's this, by the way. It is very pretty. It's lovely. And another podcaster was knitting it, and she was knitting it in grey tones, and it looks so good. And I just thought, I thought, I've been cold this whole winter season because I don't have knitted jumpers, because every time it's winter I think, I should have done that in the summer. Why didn't I knit myself a jumper instead of socks and shawls? Ugh. I mean, you can wrap yourself in a shawl, obviously, but it's not the same as a jumper sweater. So I decided, okay, I'm just going to put I'm just going to park it for a little bit, put it away. That's the neighbours, I don't know what they're doing. And I'm going to start a Blåfjell. Blåfjell. I think it's blå because it's an A with an O on it. And like in Swedish, that's O. But it could be O, so it could be Blåfjell. But anyway, I'm just going to say blå because then you understand it's like blue. Because I think there's something with the yarn and then the blue of the yarn that she's used in this pattern that has historic significance. I don't really know. I'm just making things up now. Anyway, this is it. I've already done the separate for the sleeves bit, so I'm on the body. So I finished the yoke, actually. This was a week's worth of knitting. Am I lying? Yes, it's a week and a half. I keep forgetting I didn't podcast. So I didn't podcast last Sunday. I usually record on Sunday and then just like pop it online somewhere in that week. But I have an iPhone 6S, which apparently is a phone from 2015, which in phone like land is ancient. But I love this phone. It's lovely. It works. It's nice. I have absolutely no problems with it. I would like to keep this phone. I have no interest whatsoever to replace it. So the only thing was my battery was getting bad. It was pretty terrible actually. At a certain point I couldn't really I have like a giant external battery that I keep in my bag for emergencies. I was on that thing pretty much constantly at a certain point. So I thought, okay, enough's enough. I'll go to the Apple store and get a battery replacement. So I did that. It was €30. It was fine. It just takes an hour, and I did that last Sunday, and it was just in an awkward timing position on the day that it sort of like ate a lot of time for that Sunday. And then I came back home and I was like, first I thought, I'll just race home and podcast then, but it was a really warm day and I was like, I don't really feel like it. So anyway, in the end I didn't record last week, so that was what I was getting to. But anyway, I was knitting this. I freaking love this. I didn't really want to start on this. I really wanted to finish the May sweater jumper first, pullover tunic. So I thought I'll just post on Instagram, you know, what would people's yarn suggestions be, because I had quite a bit of Rauma fennel garn. There's none in my bag at the moment. Anyway, I balled up some of this. And I'll put a picture in this video of the choices I had, because I had grey, which I wanted to use for the body, and then I had a pink, yellow and a brown, and I needed a combination of 3 of either of those colours. And people had were really nice. People were like going, oh, pick combination 2, pick combination 3 on Instagram. And I think a lot of people suggested the yellow and brown version, which was really nice. It's just that none of them, neither of the 3 options I had. And I wanted to knit something from stash, even though I knew I was never going to finish the sweater with the grey I had. But I thought I need to finish the yoke with the yarn that I have in stash, because honestly I'm starting to have quite a bit of stash, and I can easily knit a ton of stuff from this. So, you know, I think enough's enough at the moment. I can order yarn to supplement a particular project, but no more new after this week, obviously, because I went to a knitting festival on Friday. But so no more ordering new stuff at the moment. It's not necessary. And in addition to that, I dye yarn, so if I need something I can just dye out myself. Obviously not stuff like this, because it's very rustic yarn and I don't have any of that, but fine. So I thought, okay, none of the 3 options I have really speak to me. Why is that? Maybe I don't love any of them. Okay, it's possible. And I thought, oh, what a shame that I don't have a burnt orange phenol garn. And I thought, hang on, I bought some burnt orange tuku wool at Edinburgh Yarn Festival 2 months ago. Is that 2 months ago? Month and a half? Anyway, it's I could just use the tuku orange with the pink and the grey. And so that's what I did. So the grey is Rauma phenol garn in colorway 404, which made me chuckle. The pink is Rauma phenol garn, and then this burnt orange is tuku wool, the tuku fingering. It's not the tuku sock wool. Apparently they have tuku fingering, which is 100% 100% wool, which is this, but they also have tuku sock, which is I think 80-20, might be 75-25. I can look that up, never mind. So this is the yoke. I really like the pattern, but you kind of have to like doing some brain work, because, and I understand her point of view, she's given you all the instructions you need to figure it out yourself, with a little bit of hand holding. And her reasoning is, if you can figure it out from this project, from this pattern, then you can start doing all the like Swedish, Norwegian, Scandinavian colorwork patterns, because they are extremely not handholdy. So they sort of lack a lot of the instructions that you would get. I think in like Western European patterns, it's very handholdy. You know, you get like pictures, do it like this, slip it like that, which is fine, even though some parts are completely, you know, missing. But, you know, a lot of it is very handholdy. And then you have like Scandinavian knitting patterns are very like, I don't know, they just give you like the information you need, but definitely not more than that. So this is a little bit like that. It'll say you now have so many stitches, you need to increase by 40, increase them evenly, and then you have to calculate how to do that. I'm not very good with numbers. It's like this sort of like blank spot in my brain. So I found a cheating way, which is, there are knitting calculators online that where you plug in, my current row has, I don't know, 240 stitches, and I need to increase by 38, whatever. It's just an example. And then you plug that in and it'll tell you. But I found that I don't really like the way that the knitting calculators have you do the increases. I just use that as a guideline, and then figure out my own way to do the increases. So it's a bit more difficult probably than what you would have in most patterns. But, you know, it works out well. I enjoyed it. I think that Ellie has said that she's going to make a cheat sheet for people who just really don't enjoy doing the calculations, or maybe who have I don't know, learning disabilities or something else, you know, it's all possible. Numbers are not for everybody, so there will be, if that's a thing that would worry you, I would just wait a little bit, because there's going to be a cheat sheet. But, and then also, if you have issues with the pattern, just go to the Skein Knits Ravelry group. There's a chatter thread for this pattern, and you know, if there's anything that you that you're running into or find difficult, you can just ask questions there, and there's people who have knitted the pattern and who have knitted more of these types of patterns who can help you through those things. Or like for me, just kind of reading through questions from other people, it just helps you figure out stuff. So I think I quite like it, because keeping the instructions minimal, it does make you engage more with the knitting, I think. And it's also good because it's only like 6 pieces of paper, not even. This was probably 4 pieces of paper I needed to print, and because I do double-sided printing. But you know, sometimes there are patterns that have you like print these 17 pages, which is like really crazy. But Oh well. Blåfjell sweater. I'm going to love this thing in the winter. The neck is quite high up, and though I don't always enjoy that, when I am cold, I want to be like covered in yarn, so this is going to be perfect. I really like the way the colours have turned out, and I'm really really looking forward to seeing how this blocks out. So I have to say about the tuku wool, I find it very thin. I found that the rauma was much more of an even yarn. The tuku for me was all over the place, which you know, could be your thing. It probably appeals to the rustic audience, I guess. For me, in this project, I didn't like it so much because the difference in some spots with the rauma and the tuku wool was quite noticeable. So I'm thinking it'll block out and be fine and you won't notice it, but yeah, I think I like the rauma better. So I mean, I want to see how this thing turns out, but I'm already like planning the colours for another sweater because I think it's so much fun. I wish there would be like a small human version so I could make one for my son, but we'll see. Maybe I'll make one for Derek. We can all have like matching sweaters and be crazy people. I've been knitting my balls like this, winding my balls by hand, and I love it. So those are my whips. I have one finished object this week. These are my Mountain Rain shorties. Hang on. These are so pretty. This is like the third time I've knit this pattern and I just really enjoy it. This yarn is Drops Fable print in the colour Berry Dream. Oh, here we go. The colour is 330. Not much to say about these. The pattern is by Salapalooza Knits, who has a podcast here on YouTube, and I highly recommend it, obviously, since it's like the third pair and probably not the last pair I've knit. I'm really planning to do some summer knits pretty soon. I have like some linen yarn from Blacker Yarns that I bought at Edinburgh Yarn Festival. I first thought I would make the I think it's the Mount Pleasant tea from Pip and Pin, I think. But I don't know. I could make a Tegna tea by Caitlin Hunter, but like everybody and the mother are knitting the Tegna, so do I really? That's the thing though with Ravelry and Instagram and the YouTube podcast, it's good because it gives you options and lots of suggestions. The problem is that so many people are just knitting the same thing, which is, you know, I sit here with my Andrea Mowry project, obviously, you know, but then I think, shouldn't we also be looking more at designers who are not, you know, don't have thousands of projects on Ravelry? And I was listening to the latest podcast from Yarn Hoarder, who I absolutely adore. I think it's like one of the best podcasts out there, and she has a new knit along, which is like Unsung Heroes, I think it's called. And the idea is that you pick a project from Ravelry to knit that has like 30 projects or less than 30 or 30. And I like that idea. And I have like a sort of alternative tea that I want to knit. And then I thought, oh, I should like make these rules, because I get excited about things like this and I think, oh yes. And then I like evening after evening, I'll like be browsing Ravelry and like going into sort of like the deeper, because Ravelry makes it really easy to find the popular projects. They have like in their search things like popular and best match and like whatever thing other people are looking at. But to get sort of like deep down to it, which I guess is like similar for most of these types of websites, to kind of get to something that's new and unusual and that not a lot of people have been looking at, it's a little bit harder. You have to put in a little bit more work. The thing that makes me not want to choose, the thing that I don't want to do is make a ton of rules for myself. Like, I have to use this type of yarn for these types of projects, for like, you can't do, because I'll get excited about these like knit-alongs, like, oh, Unsung Heroes. It sounds like a really good idea, and I'll probably knit something for it because I think it is a really good idea. But then on the same time, I kind of know myself, and I'm kind of the type of person that'll sort of like obsess and then go too far into it, and then, you know, I'll be doing that, and then like in my mind I will have made too many rules for it, and then I don't enjoy knitting anymore. And that's like the thing that I don't want to do. So I bought some stitch markers online from Shiny Stuff Creations on Etsy. It's a Dutch Etsy seller. So I have like this tiny obsession for food progress keepers. This is like a cheesecake. It's a little coffee bean. I think the pizza is my favourite. Just like the realistic food progress keepers. I know Sucre Miniatures had like a jacket potato, and that's become sort of like my, what's that thing when you want it but it's not in your reach? Never mind. Someday I will own the jacket potato progress keeper. It might not be this year, it might not be next year, but there will come a day. Shiny Stuff Creations on Etsy. Love these, very pretty. I have a random progress keeper lying around here. I got this in Scotland. It's a tartan sheep. I got this in like, I think I bought it in Loch Ness. We did like a Highland tour, and we were in Loch Ness, and you have like all these crazy touristy shops that they drop you off at because, you know, they want to boost the economy. It's fine, I don't mind. I'll buy your stuff. I think it was sold as a zipper pull thing. Ooh. I was like, nope, that's not a zipper pull. That's a progress keeper. I bought some yarn, which I shall not do for a little while. It's in a crinkly bag, and I have a love-hate relationship. Like the crinkliness of the plastic makes me think, ooh, presents. Sort of like, so it scratches that part of your brain. The other side is like, oh, it's plastic. Stranded dye wax. A couple of weeks ago, Amy put on her Instagram that she had like a mini sale because she was getting rid of some surplus stock. So I have these two, lovely. Blue is not a colour I go for usually. but I just thought these were very pretty. This is Glass Slipper, and it's in the Cavern base, which for her is like the Stellina Sparkle. The Stellina Sparkles never show up on camera, but anyway. There. And this is Blue Rinse. It's just dark blue. Merino nylon. I really like this together. And I'm thinking of doing like a, just like making up a pattern, but like a triangle shawl, a stripy triangle shawl with these two. I think it would be amazing. Okay. What else did I buy? Oh yeah, so on Friday there was a knitting festival in the Netherlands, and it was in Rijswijk, which is near The Hague, which is the, I guess, political capital. So in most countries, the capital city is also where the government and the parliament and stuff like that is. Not in the Netherlands. The capital city is Amsterdam, and then you have parliament and the government and all that jazz is in The Hague. Interesting side note, which is why some people think that The Hague is the capital. It's not. Amsterdam's the capital city. Anyway, so I was in Rijswijk, in the, it's called Broodfabriek, which is the bread factory thing, and there were the Braiddagen, which is knitting days, so I think it's like the Dutch knitting days. This is from Schaap and Draak, so that's sheep and dragon. And this is Toffee, which is something like cool or awesome toffee. I really like this. This I bought this like kind of also because this base is blue face Leicester, so it's 75% blue face Leicester, 25% nylon. And I love blue face Leicester for socks. So yeah, it's like, what? Blue face Leicester, sign me up. She also had this crazy, I don't know what this is going to be, but it was so rainbowy, crazy. I just had to take it. It's not even that speckled. I think like these two splotches are the extent of the speckliness, but I just love this. Crazy. So this is like, so like two ends of the spectrum, but I bought them both. Schaap and Draak. Oh yes, and there was another stand that sold the wrist rulers from I Love Handles, so I had to get one of those. I love this thing, and not because it's a ruler. When I was a kid, so it's more like this, Dutch people love going to France on holiday because you drive through Belgium, you drive through France, and then you keep, like, the more you drive, the sunnier it gets. So it's a perfect destination for summer holidays. And we would go there sometimes, and then you would have like these touristy shops that sold your, like, you could get like a leather bracelet, and then they would burn with like a machine or something, like a press, they would burn your name in it, and then you would wear it the entire summer holiday, and then at the end it would just like fade and die and crumple into existence. Crumple into the end of its existence. Anyway, you would no longer have a bracelet, but this thing reminds me of that so much. So every time I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, summer! So that makes me happy. Then I went to the Cross and Woods stand. They had quite a big stand. There were a couple of good Dutch yarn stores. You had Recht en Averecht, Cross and Woods. This is another one. There was Wol met Verve, had a big stand. She's a big yarn dyer. I wouldn't even call her indie dyer, although she probably does everything by hand, I'm sure. But she had a massive stand, so that was very impressive. Yeah, but Cross and Woods totally had my number. They had Tuku sock. This colour is so pretty. It's a bit more purpley, I would think. It's like a heathery purple. It's very pretty. So I got this. And then they had... So I was kind of looking for something to make a neutral type shawl or wrap for myself. Last week, Derek and I went to dinner. We are trying to sort of like try out restaurants in our... Because we live in the north of Haarlem. And then in the centre, there's a ton of restaurants, good restaurants. But it's always really busy. So our idea was, if we try out the restaurants in the north of the town, they might also be really good, but they're probably like less popular, less busy, and they're closer to us, so it'll be good to have like these places that we know of, that we like. So super close, like around the corner, there's a restaurant and it's called Tent. And it says on the window that they're a charcoal grill, and the logo is a bit naff looking, and you can't really see from the street how it looks on the inside. So we've like jokingly said, oh, we'll just go there one day, you know, and it'll be awful or whatever. We'll get food poisoning or I don't know, something. And then we just decided on a whim to go there last week. And it was amazing. It was really good. We went inside and like a lot of tables were reserved, but they said, oh, well, we have a couple of tables left, or would you like to sit at the bar? And we like to sit at the bar because I don't know why, it's just interesting and it feels less rushed. It's like, you don't have that feeling where you feel like, ooh, the restaurant's really busy, we're keeping a table. You just feel like you're sort of almost part of the restaurant. It's much calmer and I don't know, we really like it. So we were like, oh, we'll sit at the bar, please. And we're sitting there and we get a glass of wine and I'm like, this place looks really nice. Why have we never been here before? Okay, so then they gave us the menu and I'm like, this is all super fancy. And they had like kimchi tuna and all these like fancy type entrees. And then the main was, they had, so I had spare ribs, which sounds like, oh yeah, it's a charcoal restaurant, charcoal grill restaurant. It's not special, but these ribs were flipping fantastic. Derek had, oh, I think he had like a fish type thing. I can't really remember what it was, but it was really good. And we had like this dessert, and I had, I think, a brownie or something, but it was like the fudgiest. It's like how in your mind you would like a brownie to be, like super gooey and fudgy on the inside and like almost a little bit crispy on. It was fantastic. We like, what? It was not cheap. it was not a cheap restaurant, but it's like around the corner from our house. We were shocked. Anyway, before we went there, I put on like a tunic dress. I thought, ooh, I need like a cardigan or a shawl or a wrap, like a nice looking one to wear outside. But it needs to be warm but airy, and also kind of neutral looking and nice, so that it fits with this tunic that I'm wearing. I don't have any of that. I have like crazy brioche, thick, warm shawls. I have a shawl that is tiny. I have a shawl that is the Find Your Fade, that is neon and like 100 meters long. So I was a little bit yeah, I don't know what to get. So I just put on a boring cardigan, and I thought I need to knit something for myself. And I was looking at the Little Tailoress podcast, and she has all these types of things, like it's like light pink and fluffy and airy and pretty, and something that you can wear when you're going to a wedding. Like, blah, I need to find something like this. So I was looking at sort of like the mohair sections of different stands, but I just couldn't find anything. And honestly, I could, like, from the place where I buy the yarn that I dye, I can just buy some mohair there and like either give it like a blush colour or leave it white. And I think I would like it more than what I saw on Friday. So I kind of let go of that idea. And so I just need something neutral that is like soft and that I can make airy and pretty. And then, so at the Cross and Woods stand or stall, I found this. And it's yarn from Scotland. It's called Biches and Buchs, I think. I don't know how to pronounce this properly. I'm probably butchering it. But it is a lamb's wool. And it is really... you can feel that it's like a rustic yarn. So I think the term rustic is very strange and don't really know what to do about that, but it's really soft and squishy and yeah, lovely. And they had a ton of colours, but I got this grey because I'm sure it's really boring now, but I think I can make it like in a nice pretty wrap. I got 4 because they were not really very expensive, I thought. So I just thought I'll just buy 4, then I know I have enough. But yeah, I just love this. It's so cute, and the ball wrap thing is adorable. So it's some yarn from Scotland. I can read it for you. This is a pure lamb's wool from Scotland, from a family-owned fibre mill. A beautiful, natural and scoured quality for your dreamy knitting projects. With love, Astrid and Caroline. It is very dreamy though. It's quite lofty. I like this. So I haven't found a pattern yet. That's the only thing. I haven't found a pattern yet to use this on. I'm kind of hoping I can get like a cropped cardigan out of this, because that would be lovely to sort of like wear over a dress thing, but I don't know yet. It might just be a wrap or a shawl, like an oversized wrap. But yeah. So this is obviously not the same person as this, but I guess that's just how it goes with knitting. And then I had like a little impulse buy of the Interpretations Volume 5. I really like the patterns in this book. I think they're beautiful, but I think the most special thing about this is 2 designers from different places in the world, one from Argentina, one from Finland, and coming together, finding each other on the internet and deciding, hey, let's publish a book with knitting patterns together, and then doing it 5 years in a row. And I love, like, so what they do is they choose different words, and then they'll have like this word like ground, and then they'll both have their own interpretation like of that word in a knitting pattern. And they have like this is like packed, a packed pattern book. But I just love that idea of like 2 people who have the same profession finding each other on the internet that live nowhere near each other, you know, super far away, other side of the planet, and then deciding to make a book together. I think that's lovely. So I think that's the main reason I got this, but the patterns are also very beautiful. My voice it's not going to hold for very long. So that was it. I kind of contained myself, I think, during the event. There were more things that I kind of liked, but that I didn't love, so I didn't buy them. I want to kind of pace my buying to match my knitting speed a bit. Even though, you know, I do knit fast, but obviously not at the same speed as that I buy things. Because I don't mind having a stash. I love having a stash. A stash is great because you can pull yarn that you like from your stash on a whim, and it makes you happy. So that's what the stash is great for. You buy for later, which is fine. It just needs to match up a little bit more. So, but then also there are lots of samey things at the knitting event, and I was just not really. I didn't feel surprised or massively, I don't know, inspired. I hope you had a fantastic weekend and that you will have a great week, and I hope to see you a bit more regularly. My phone's got a good battery now, so it should be easier to record longer episodes. Happy knitting. See you. Bye. So the secret word to see if you made it to the end of the video is shrimp.